Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of RF Podlooza, a podcast specifically for the advertising and marketing communities. This week, we have the pleasure of speaking with Steve Ratti, editor, publisher, and founder of the Ratti Report, one of the best, if not the very best, authoritative and informative new business newsletters in the industry. Steve is a veteran of the new business wars, and he has seen it all. In this podcast, he gives us a master class in how to do new business development. Some of the things he tells us about how to make a cold call not so cold. He gives us some war stories of successes and failures. He tells us how to identify a solid lead even before the business is up for review. And he even gives us a few real leads. You'll really want to see them. This podcast is a must view for anyone in the new business arena or wanting to learn what business development and in advertising and marketing is all about. So let's get going. Let's meet Steve. So here we are talking to Steve Ratti, the editor, publisher, founder, new business consultant, and managing director of the Ratti Report. Welcome, Steve.
Well, thanks a lot, Roger. I appreciate it.
And well, first of all, the Ratti Report. Everybody in the industry knows it. Tell me how you came up with the idea for this important publication.
Well, every agency that I worked at, most of them were independents, and my job was to find the leads. I had the red books, I had a phone, I had a computer, and they said make 50 phone calls a day and find the leads. So I got very good at it. I've worked at a number of agencies, and if you don't find the leads and you can't get into the pitch, then you're just a guy walking around drinking free coffee. So I had to get very good at it.
Cold calling is a well, most people are scared of cold calling. And so what techniques did you use to overcome the 98% rejection you usually get when you make cold calls?
Well, it's just to know something a little bit more about the prospect, whatever that little nugget is. And so I would just do a lot of research on what I wanted to know. And I remember finding this little piece of information about Seagram's Beverage Company, and found out that they were going to get the distribution rights for Steinlager. And that means an automatic. Anytime a booze company gets the rights to distribute, that's a new business lead. And probably an account review. So I called them up, just said congratulations, and that made the call very easy. Very easy. I made him look like a hero. I made sure he knew that I thought the brand was great, and I was probably the only one that talked to him about it. And he was really, really cool. This is when I was at an ad agency that only did TV commercials, so I had no business making that phone call. But because I knew that little piece of information, he said, "Hey, I don't need any help on a Steinlager. Why don't you help me out on Grolsch?" And I said, "Hell yeah!"
There you go.
And that was the beginning that was the aha moment of my career. You have to know that one little thing. If you have the capabilities and the category experience, and maybe if you're in the right neighborhood, sure, maybe you can get lucky. And I will get lucky once in a while. But if you have that fourth thing, that little nugget of information, it works. And I've been using that forever. I mean, just a few years ago, I was helping a small shop here at the Jersey Shore, and I was watching The Daily Show, and Jon Stewart was interviewing Brian Williams, and they're both New Jersey Shore guys. So they were discussing the best hot dogs at the Jersey Shore, and they brought up the chain Windmill. So Windmill gets this great national exposure. I just go to the Facebook page at Windmill and I go, "Hey, congratulations on the national exposure. That is really great. Can't wait to hear more about it." And the owner she's like, where did you hear that? What was it? Was it Wendy Williams? I'm like, no, it was Jon Stewart and Brian Williams. By the way, Brian Williams is a big fan of Windmill.
Cool.
So
That's a great story.
next thing you know, we're pitching a three-man shop, and that includes me. We're pitching the 50th anniversary of Windmill Hot Dogs, and so knowing that little piece of information is great, and it's kind of what I'm offering everyone who reads the Ratti Report. I'm giving them that fourth piece, sometimes fifth, sixth piece of information that they can use to do a cold call, and it doesn't seem so cold. I got to tell you, if you're congratulating someone on something that they did, I kind of like it.
Now, I understand the Ratti Report. It started out as something free that I guess you were doing on your free time when you were still working for some agencies in New York.
I was working at an agency near Penn Station in Midtown, and they also did PR. So they wanted all the executives to have their own branded Twitter feed. And I'm like, well, what the heck am I going to do with the Twitter feed? And what is the rest of the world going to do with my Twitter feed? And I decided, hey, all I do is look for leads and pitch leads. Why don't I just tweet out all the leads that I can't use? And I remember the first one was for Sky Vodka, and we had no right pitching Sky Vodka for multiple reasons. And so I tweeted that out, and I just kept on tweeting out leads and more. And then I'd done real well there. I won them like $10 million in 6 months. That was enough. They couldn't handle it anymore. So I left the agency, and I thought, well, let's just put these leads up on a blog. And I gave that away for free. And then I started getting a lot of complaints from agencies all over the country going like, why are you giving away the stuff? What are you planning on doing? Are you planning on working for WPP, getting us, a $500,000 job, or what is your plan? Because you have to stop doing this right now. So
the industry did not like your attitude or your generosity. Okay,
yeah,
well, it doesn't surprise me.
I was just spreading the love, and so then I just started charging. That was that. But I guess the mission statement is to do exactly that, to share the love, to get the leads out there. I mean, I always considered myself a bleeding heart capitalist. I want everyone to win. I want every agency to be able to do as well as they can. And that's it. And if I do well for an agency, they stay with me forever. I've had, whether it be the agency or the actual person, even if they bounce around from shop to shop, I've had people with me for almost that whole time.
I mean, you've talked about some of your new business interesting stories, but what was your biggest success story? Or the biggest mistake? We all make mistakes.
I'll give you both. When I was working at that toy agency I was talking about, we got bought up by the toy client got bought by Hasbro. So then we became a Hasbro roster shop. This 12-person shop that just made 55 commercials every day, toy commercials every year. But now we were pitching. So now anytime Hasbro had a roster agency review, we were in it. And the 2 times that we were in it, we won both times. And that meant this little agency called Posnick and Kolker, and I don't know if anyone knows who that is. They don't exist anymore. But to win a roster agency at Hasbro, you had to beat TBWA Shy Day. We beat DDB. We beat Gray. Griffin Bacall, which was the longest running Hasbro shop ever, and also Jordan, was it Jordan Case McGrath? So we had to beat all those agencies, and we did it twice. We did it twice, and I thought, wow, that was a huge win, and it was all for the Star Wars licensed commercials. So it was the first time Star Wars or any movie made broke even before the movie actually aired, before it actually got played in the theaters. And that was partly because of us. We had all the Star Wars electronic toys.
So, that was a big win for your agency at the time, particularly fighting against some of the big guys out there. So, what was your biggest horror story?
Well, the biggest one was I was at Margie Otis Fertitta Partners, and this was before the big crash. So we were pitching Bear Stearns. It was a $5 million account, and we won. We won the $5 million Bear Stearns account. We had Putnam Investments, so that helped us get into the financial area there. But we win this $5 million account, and the owner of the agency, George Fertitta, a man who's never not wanted to pitch a piece of business, he finds out that Bankers Trust is in review, and he goes, "Well, that's a $10 million account. We can't keep both, so let's just give Bear Stearns a contract. After we won the account, let's give them a contract that they'll probably say no to. We'll just overcharge the heck out of them." So, of course, Bear Stearns said no. They said, "Okay, thanks, guys, but you're a little too expensive. We're going to take the guys who came in second." So that left the door open for us to pitch Bankers Trust, and we got into the finals. It was us, Fallon, I forget who the third agency was, but we get into the finals, and you know when you're to pitch like that, I never leave the agency. So here it is, 4 o'clock in the morning. We're still getting decks finished and creative done, and somewhere in the agency, in the middle of the night, that little pyramid logo, it disappeared. It disappeared off of all the creative, and that was it. We lost the account because, and we were like, "We'll just put it back in." And they were like, "But I'd like to get my agencies in the door before they even know they want to have a pitch."
Sure, that's the best way to do it, obviously.
Right now, one of the things I do is I look at a lead and I go, "There's no way this is not going to go into review." And I actually make the predictions. Right now, I'm looking at Glover Food Lab. They're going to be going in review. Juice, Clean Juice, a 75-unit faith-based juice joint. They're going to go in review, in my opinion. Noodles and Company, Mountain Mike's Pizza, a lot of restaurants. Tijuana Flats, TGI Fridays just got bought by a company in the UK. So these are things that
you're giving away free leads. You're going back to
giving away free leads to you right now. Yes,
okay.
I am.
But people are going to see this. Yes.
Well, I mean, those are what I see that are going to happen within the next couple of months, and
Okay.
I got to give you some of the cake.
RFPs. Well, my business, RF Palooza, is based completely on RFPs, mostly public sector RFPs. I always see these articles. Sometimes I bite my nails. The RFP is gone. It's gonna die. What's your thought on RFPs in general? Maybe even public sector RFPs.
Well, RFPs are never going to go away in the public sector. The RFPs you get from the search consultants, some are great, some are very, very fair, some give you great feedback, others don't. Um, and every single one of them is different. Through search consultants, I've won Friendly's Ice Cream. I've won Media One, which eventually turned into Comcast. I've won, let's see, we had to go, the Bear Stearns was one. Of course, there's dozens and dozens that I didn't get into the finals.
I wanted to ask you, just because out of my interest, sometimes I get a lot of pushback from potential subscribers to RF Palooza because it's all public sector. My answer to them is, they pay in dollars, in real dollars. What do you think about public sector marketing versus private sector?
Well, I kind of put them in two. I mean, the public sector also includes state lottos,
Yep,
also includes a lot of tourism,
sure.
um, and those are very, very sexy.
What
Those are
happens in
very,
Vegas stays in Vegas is a public
yeah. I
sector
mean,
campaign.
it's and it's good. I like universities,
Sure.
because what's good about universities is that you can have like 15 of them if they don't compete. I mean, yeah, you can't have Harvard and Yale. You can't have Michigan, Ohio State. But um, but there's so many of them, you can win lots of them. And once you've gone through the rigmarole of winning one, and if you're halfway decent at it, the next one's just going to be easier. It's just going to be easier. So some of them, I like today. I posted something about um, electronic car awareness in some state. I forget which one. Excuse me. Um, that could be cool. Um, I don't know how many times more you can sell that. Go to every state and go like, we did this brand thing for uh, electric cars and vehicles. But for the most part, I mean, it's pretty good. Like I said, they're not going anywhere. My biggest problem, and I'm sure the biggest problem with many agencies, is that they tend to be very tight-lipped about budgets.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and in
sometimes
fact, I
it's
talked about,
interesting because sometimes they publish it in the RFP. Like the state legislature
huh?
has authorized X millions of dollars, and I always put it in a headline in our daily email when I spot
Yes.
them. In my opinion, nothing gets the adrenaline flowing more than a new business pitch. What I used to hate is when you spend 2 weeks working on the work, and then some really senior executive comes in at 6 o'clock the night before and kills all the work because he or she didn't look at it during the development process. So then you stay all night and do new work, and you have a meeting at 11 the next day. And I always say adrenaline is a great opiate because you think the work is really good, the new work at 4 o'clock in the morning. But after you get your 1 hour of sleep, if you can, you look at it and goes, it's really not that good. We should have gone with the original stuff. So
And maybe you might have lost the logo.
yeah, there you go. And one time we were pitching an agency. We were pitching a client. This was 3 days before the pitch. And we thought we came up with the best line for a campaign. I'm walking to work, I see the line on a billboard. So
Oh no.
in lower Manhattan. So where do you see the industry going? You have an interesting perspective because you're looking at you have your ear to the ground. Excuse me. So where do you see the industry going in the next few years?
Well, we're going through one of those times. It's happened a few times where It happened in the early 90s, happened in the late 2000s, and it's happening again, where these highly regarded ad agency folks leave the big agency on starting their new shops. You know, 3, 4, 5-person shops. That's happening a lot more. Like I said, it comes in cycles. And I just read yesterday how WPP's thinking of breaking up.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah, because they're figuring VML, which includes my alma mater of J. Walter Thompson
And Y&R and Wonderman.
and Y&R,
Yeah.
your alma mater.
Yep.
So they're thinking of breaking it up.
We've come from an era of, big brand advertising that we're just generating awareness to becoming really all advertising is direct marketing advertising now, I think.
I always think of that Leo Burnett campaign for Altoids.
Okay, Altoids.
Remember the Leo Burnett came up with the curiously strong mints.
Yep, I remember that. That was a while ago, but I remember it, yes.
But the thing is that the sales went through the roof. They couldn't make it fast enough. It went from a $2 million account to a $12 million account. And they were still making money. And I don't see how humans make that happen. Direct marketing doesn't do that. You can try as much as you can, but you're never going to blow it out of the water. You're never going to get that big hit. And, everyone gets lucky,
Yeah, now and then. Tell me when. Well, thank you, Steve. This has been great. Your insights on the industry and some of your war stories are very valuable and interesting. So, what's the URL for the Ratti Report?
It's Ratti, R-A-T-T-I, report.com.
Okay, RattiReport.com. Well, thanks again, and I appreciate you being our guest.
Thanks, Roger. I'll talk to you soon.